You know, one thing I know is that if you're watching this video, your life has not gone the way you intended it to go. The reason I say that, nobody goes to college to sell insurance necessarily, at least no one I've met. No one plays insurance man as a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old as a kid. Their life dream isn't to grow up and protect families or write applications on the down and out, so to speak, which is what we do with the final expense market. What I do know, though, is that life has a way of positioning you to sometimes make money and serve families and do things that, while you never would have gone there in the beginning, once you're there, you're super glad you are. No matter how it transpired or no matter how it wound up. Many of you worked in real estate markets. Some of you own car dealerships. Others of you were in other walks of life, but life happened. 9/11 happened. The economy crashed, and now you've had to do what you've had to do for your family and go into an industry that possibly, as I said, you didn't see yourself in, but now that you're here, you're looking to make the most out of. My name's Craig Harvey, and my partners and I started a company called North American Senior Benefits a few years ago with you in mind, knowing that there was going to be hungry, passionate individuals looking not only to change their own life, but caring about the seniors with whom they'd sit and looking to change their life as well. Now, final expense is something, I'll be honest with you, when I first heard about it, I was like, no way, not me. But I really didn't have a good grasp on what it was and how long it was really here to stay. If any of you have studied your research, you understand that the baby boomer market is absolutely fueling not only our nation's economy today, but if you'll study your history from the beginning, actually from 1946 to 1964, it's been changing people's lives. I don't know what happened from 46 to 64, man, but there was a lot of babies born, okay? Be it a lot of Led Zeppelin music or Barry White records, something happened to where there was an influx of kids that were born into this nation, and everywhere those kids have gone, people literally have gotten rich. People have capitalized on that movement. Take the Gerber baby food grandmothers. Now, I don't know if any of you have toddlers like I do. I've got a 2-year-old named Eden. Sometimes I gotta sample the baby food, at least when she was 1, with the squash or peas or carrots. And I can tell you, Gerber did not succeed because their product tasted so good. That wasn't it. They were in the right place at the right time, and their marketing was superior. And as a result, they succeeded. Fast forward, now these kids aren't 2 and 3 and 4. Now these kids are 6, 7, and 8. And the Schwinn bicycle family is there. And these individuals profited greatly, not because they were better than BMX necessarily. I was a BMX guy, but their marketing there again was superior. And they were able to leverage that industry knowledge. All those kids came through. There again, they succeeded based on that market dominance. Fast forward, now these kids are 16, 17, and 18, and guess when Chevy and Ford began to take off? It wasn't just the Camaro, it wasn't just the Mustang being so cool that drove their sales. There were so many kids coming through that marketplace, Ford and Chevy, man, they were in the right place at the right time and they succeeded. Guys, I can show you where the housing market absolutely began to explode because the baby boomers were coming through. The recent statistics tell us that every day, please hear this, every day, 10,500 seniors somewhere in America turn 65. Every week, some 80,000 are stepping into our target market. Guys, that's 400,000 a month that need what we have. And that's where NASB, that's where North American Senior Benefits comes into play. And that's where the coaching and, quite frankly, let me say the industry experience that we have can help you meet your financial goals. I want to bring on a gentleman that's really been with us from the very beginning. One of the first agents that we ever hired was recently made partner with us here in Atlanta. Makes his home out of Orange Beach. He's got an incredible story, and it's just an honor to have Chris Isbell all the way from LA. That's not lower, that is lower Alabama. That's not LA, Los Angeles. Yes. That's lower Alabama, man. Chris's story is one that, man, really resonates with a lot of the NASB family because we're a company really of underdogs. We're a company of individuals that things have not gone right in any of our lives, per se Chad Milner. Excuse me, Chad, if you're watching. But the reality is a lot of us have experienced some hiccups. We've experienced some just potholes, so to speak. And while some would look at those as stumbling blocks, Chris, guys like you have looked at them as stepping stones. And take us back, if you would, as to what attracted you into the business. What was it that brought you into Final Expense? Man, you know this. Nobody just wakes up and says, hey, I want to go into the places we go into, protecting the people we protect. But nobody, I can admit, has possibly done it as good as you and your team here at North American. Talk about what attracted you to the platform initially.
Well, Craig, I'm super excited to be here. I'm very proud of where we've come from, where we've been, and what we've accomplished up to this point. You know, I got into this business, like you said, quite by accident, and I was introduced to it after our real estate company had been successful at one point, and we ended up failing with the economy when it crashed, and my father introduced me to this business. We ended up looking at the final expense market, didn't know what it was, had no idea, baby boomers, 10,000 people a day, no idea, any of that stuff. He had gotten into it and become successful with it and was telling me about it, and I said, well, I'm going to take a look at this. Obviously, if you can make money in it, then I'm going to be interested in it. So we looked at the market. I went out in the field with him. He took me out, went knocked on some doors, got into a lady's house, and we were able to help her out, find something that would suit her needs, and walked out of the house, asked him how much he made. He said, well, on that sale, about $800. And I said, well, shoot, I can definitely do that. So that's how I started my career. Got my license and got into just personally selling. Got into selling for 2 years, knocking on doors, straight just walking up to doors with the leads that we have. And we ended up, you know, coming back out of our hole, coming back out of the fall that we had with real estate and able to get back paying our bills. And that was nice, but at some point, about 2 years into it, I started looking for a better opportunity. I knew there was opportunity in this market. I knew that there was an opportunity in insurance. I liked the idea of residual income for being able to make a sale today and get paid forever. And that was always nice in theory to be able to do, but I hadn't really found a good system to do it with and really attached to. So I began looking, and that's when a friend of mine who knew you introduced us, and that's when I called you on the phone. I said, look, I'm in the business and I'm not making what I want to make, and you told me about an opportunity here at NASB that we have a system that I could follow, I could latch onto, and I could really hang my hat with a company that could take me to where I wanted to go. So we talked and we met, and from there, honestly, the rest is history. I've been able to really latch on to something, just hook onto that train of being able to follow what you had already done and what you teach, to be able to make myself successful, not only that, but make several other people successful too.
Well, Chris, you've got a couple of hundred agents, man, that are doing it very well and following in all our paths. I mean, you know, none of us know more than all of us. And one of the things I've learned is you run into and you connect and you leverage the strengths of great talents like Chris Isbell, and it takes whatever you have that's good that makes it great. Hey, if it's great, it makes it greater. And that's one of the reasons North American has exploded. Chris, in the beginning, you were at those foundational meetings when we sat around in a room and said, what do we want? How do we want this house to look? What kind of floors do we want it to have? What kind of structure do we want it to be made up of? And there are some things that we're very proud of. Vesting day one is a big calling card of ours. Being direct in our marketing campaigns. I mean, you and I have seen so many just lead systems throughout our tenure. Lead systems that talk about Walmart cards, talk about prescription drugs, talk about flashlight leads. I mean, literally there's flashlight leads out there that you come to the door, you I guess give a flashlight and free batteries and say, Miss Johnson, I mean, one day the lights are going to go out in your life. I mean, I have no idea, right? We made a fundamental financial obligation to this company to our agents and to you that are watching that we would run leads that are direct. We would run lead pieces that are not evasive, but they say what they mean and mean what they say. And so talk a little bit about our lead platform because it really is one of the nucleus foundational principles that have launched our success.
It's the lifeblood of our business, and that's one of the things I was looking for in a company when I came here was leads. And not only leads and the type of leads, but also what we paid for them and how we paid for them. And there's many different factors here, but you know, I love the fact that they say life insurance. I love that when we show up at a door with a lead in our hand, they have requested information from us about what we sell. We're not having to pivot from one thing that they thought we were coming for to something else. And that's very, very nice being able to walk in and help somebody who truly has a need and they know they have a need. The other thing that I really liked about it is the fact that whenever I came from my former company where I had to pay for the entire mail drop. And I had literally spending, you know, thousands of dollars out of my pocket up front, waiting 3 to 4 weeks before any leads would come in. What I love about our system here is I have a fixed price for leads, so they don't fluctuate based on return rates and all that stuff. So I know what I'm paying, I know what I'm getting, they're specific, and so it's easy for me to be able to budget what my costs are to be able to do business. And so that was really nice. The other thing that's really nice about them is the fact that we can work closer to home. We're not having to travel all over the country, going to different states, staying in different hotel rooms for a week, being away from our family. 60 to 90 miles away from our house, that's where we try to keep our leads. And that's been super nice to be able to come home at night and eat dinner with my family, be able to work out at my own gym, to be able to shop at my own grocery stores, to be able to stay close to home and be able to go to work. And we attract a lot of people who, you know, they're used to traveling and being gone and missing their families. And honestly, we've had people that have left higher incomes to come here because they see an opportunity, because they get to stay close to home. It's not all about you know, just chasing dollars. It's really about quality of life, and that's one big element to what we do.
Well, dude, without leads, like you're saying, you know, 150% of nothing is nothing. You know, 110% of nothing is nothing. And so having a lead platform and an ability to plug into that is massive. Now here's the other thing, and you and I both know a lot of individuals are looking to get into that marketplace. A lot of different companies are trying their hand in the final expense arena, and as a result in that, or of that, we are seeing lead costs begin to fluctuate. We're seeing it with our competitors and our competition. You're one of the partners, you sit on the board here at NASB, and you know the power and really the level of financial commitment that we as an organization put into our agents. And I want to say this to those of you that are watching. Last year alone, we spent, Chad Milner, myself, the partnership team, Jordan Smith, Chris Isbell, $1.2 million. You know this, you've looked at the books. $1.2 million we invested in our agents to make sure their lead cost was at a place that could not only be sustained, but could allow them to flourish. Now, if you hear that and you say, Craig, let me get this straight. North American spent $1.2 million on its agents' leads last year. How in the world could it sustain that? Well, because we are not looking necessarily to make a giant spread on our teams, on our agents, from a standpoint of us eating steak every night, right? And them eating Spam every night. What we're looking to do is to reinvest the profits into the sales force, which keeps our premium at a high and really at the forefront of some of our competition. So talk about specifics. While other agencies, while other IMOs are raising lead costs to $27, $28, $29, $30 a platinum lead, where do we come in? Do you have anything other than platinum leads? What do we offer from a lead standpoint?
Our platinum leads, which is our top shelf, exclusive, fresh, new lead, $23, which is way below what it actually costs. And that's where the $1.2 million comes in, is us making up that difference as a company. And so $23 flat fee, doesn't matter what it costs the actual, for the price of the lead, we spend $23, which is nice. The second tier of our lead system is our gold lead program, where basically these are leads that have been previously dispersed. They have never been sold, never resulted in a sale, and we discount these down to $6. $6. We have agents making a ton of money off of these $6 leads. We have another tier down from that, 100-day-old leads. These are silver leads. Again, haven't resulted in a sale. These are $3 a piece.
Wow.
So we've got a tiered down system. We also have available phone leads. These are leads, especially if you're getting cranked up, you're getting started, maybe you're in a new area, nothing is close by. You can start with phone leads, have those relatively quickly, $20 a piece. These are telemarketed leads where they're called, our demographic, they talk to them about life insurance, tell them that we will be coming by, naming the agent, and we get a recording of the conversation too, which is really nice. So that's emailed out to us, $20 a piece. So we've got a very good lead platform that has multiple opportunities to be able to see people, multiple price points. So it just makes it easy for someone to be able to do well in this business and be well funded and well supplied with leads.
You know, I love the underdog story of life. I love the, you know, Rudy, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish graduate kind of tale, that Rocky Balboa type mentality. And Chris, there's a lot of people watching us right here all across the nation that they share a similar story that you and I echo because they weren't born with silver spoons in their mouth, man. Their last names don't echo the names of CEOs or the names on buildings, and you know what it is. One of the reasons I respect you so much is you built it, something that was totally out of your control, took it from you. And a couple of years ago, you were with me when we just sat in a room and dreamed it all up, and you're close, if not to being back there again. What would you look into that camera and say to somebody? Because, you know, Chris, you know this like I do. There's tons of people making promises. There's tons of people saying, and let's just be real, selling things. All don't deliver. NASB has for you, and now it's our job to try to share that same coaching platform with someone that is looking for an opportunity. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say to somebody watching this video that you probably have been made a lot of promises by other companies. You probably have heard a lot of things that haven't really worked out. But with NASB, if you bring the work ethic, if you bring the want to, if you bring the drive, we can provide the leads, we can provide the support, we can provide the training. We can bring those things, but one thing we can't bring is the willingness for you to work, for you to get out of bed each day, look in the mirror and tell yourself that there's an opportunity here to be able to make a great living for you and your family.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for coming up from LA, not Los Angeles, Lower Alabama, here to Hot Atlanta, and sharing a little bit of your success story as to what has really enabled you to go from where you were to where you are. And I want to bring on another individual that not only has made a huge difference here at NASB, but captaining and let's just say coaching some 100+ agents himself in and around the Southeast, Mr. Nick Camerata, not only throughout the Southeast, but specifically here in the state of Georgia. And it's my honor and privilege to have him with us today. Nick, thank you for coming down 75, man, around 285 through the traffic.
No problem.
Buddy.
Happy to be here.
We've known each other a while, and I think one of the interesting things I'd like the viewers, wherever they may be watching this video, to know is what attracted you specifically, initially to Final Expense,
Sure.
but then also to NASB, and in your mind, what separates our company from maybe some of our competition?
Absolutely. Well, you know, when I first started, I was we're in sales. After I got out of the Navy, I became a financial planner. So I was in stocks, bonds. Basically, I was working with the top 5% of wage earners. Well, as a lot of you know, when the Dow went from 14,000 down to 5,800 in about 6 months, a lot of things changed. Companies changed, commissions changed, my money changed. I was an asset manager. I had less assets to manage. So a lot of things changed, and my income was cut about 60%. Well, that's a pretty drastic lifestyle change. So when I started taking a look at some different opportunities, the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure was that I was not going to be knocked out by the recession again. I wanted something that was going to be non-cyclical. I wanted a product that everyone needed, and I wanted a big market to sell to. So instead of chasing after the top 5%, now I'm going after the 95% with a product that everybody has to have. So it just makes more financial sense, and of course protects me from what happened 6 years ago.
I think too, Nick, for us, and we started really in this industry kind of together like Chris and I did. From a standpoint of when you hire somebody, when we partner with an individual, male, female, young, old, black, white, it doesn't matter, straight, gay, finding people that we make a commitment to their family.
Right.
And you and I have taken this personal. And that's one of the great things about really starting your own company and building something from the ground up, is that it's got your DNA in it, right? It's got your fiber. You can make it look the way and sound the way and be the way that you want it. And so when we've hired all throughout the Southeast, we haven't just hired husbands, we've hired wives and kids along with the husband.
Sure.
We haven't just hired wives, we've hired husbands and kids along with the wife. And I know you take that so personal and you put a lot into those agents. What would you say to someone that's looking at making NASB not just a career choice, or let me say, excuse me, not just a job choice,
right,
but a career choice?
Sure.
Finding somebody that's going to, put that kind of blood, sweat, and tears like we have into it.
Right. Well, the first thing you have to consider is what you're getting into is a sustainable model. Final expense is a great market. News is out. Everybody knows it. There's a whole bunch of seniors out there. I don't know what the numbers are, but every day, 10,000 new seniors enter the market, whatever it is, and they need what we're selling. So then you have to consider, okay, what's the best platform for me to do that with? And the most challenging thing is there are lots of platforms out there to choose from. The problem is I believe what distinguishes us from everyone else is this is the first time that a platform was actually built for the agent. Everywhere else you go, there's something in the contract, there's something in the model that is going to keep you at a certain point, so that, in my opinion, you have to get into management or building or referring friends to make the extra income, because you can't really make it selling, and they set it up that way. I wanted a system where I could work with people who didn't have the pressure of referring a friend, or I don't have to be a manager to make money at this company. I can be an agent, I can take my contract, I can get my leads, and I can go out there and I can make my 150, 250, 300,000, and I don't have to put up with all the pressures that other companies put on you to build, because their platforms don't allow you to make the money you need to make as an individual agent.
I'm so proud as an owner to be able to say my top guy will earn 7 figures this year, $1 million. We're 2 years old.
Right.
We will have multiple, some 10 plus, earn $500,000. Maybe 20, 25, earn $250,000 this year. And that goes back to our system. It goes back to our coaches. You played soccer. I was a football guy, tried to be back in my younger years. And so we talk a lot about athletics, man. We talk a lot about the analogies that sports not only equates to life, but it equates to final expense life and what we do. Talk about the business coaching. Talk about the coaching that not just yourself, but the other senior RVPs provide to their teams, and really their commitment to those individuals' success.
Sure. Well, the big thing when I talk about coaching, there's 2 types of training that you're going to find out there. There's voluntary and involuntary. The involuntary training is probably pretty bad, because you have to go. And it's probably somebody who used to write business back in the 70s who's going to teach you some tricks that don't work. Ours is voluntary. So we take a huge risk at running all these phone calls that we do each morning, every morning, that someone's going to be on it. So we have nearly 250 active agents that participate voluntarily on a phone call each morning. Now, why would they do that? The reason they do that, the reason people show up to voluntary training is they are actually learning something from it. They're getting better. They're held accountable to whatever they're working towards, and they're writing more and they're making more. I know the national average out there says that an insurance agent makes, what, $32,000, $35,000. Well, the reason that really is, if we want to get honest, he probably works 3 months out of the year if you add up the hours. So one of the things that we do, just like you would have checks and balances if you played, basketball, football, things like that, we get together each morning for 30 minutes We account for what we did the day before and what we're going to do today, and we do a little bit of training, get our heads right, and go out in the field. But the information that you're getting is relevant. It helps you, and again, we stand by it. We recruit by it. If you come and take a look at our company, we're going to show you everything. So you're going to be able to take a look at our conference calls. You're going to be able to come out in the field and look at our leads. So when you make a decision to step on with NASB, you are going to know without a doubt that this is the place that you want to be, and of course that we're somebody that you want to work with. So,
you know, one of the things I think that makes my job so easy is I love the business.
right.
I mean, a lot of the guys I've met, it's so easy to, I hate to say recruit against them,
Sure.
but to just actively live what I don't hate
Right.
against them. And what I mean by that is I've seen so many prospective builders hate this so much, hate this work, hate this life, that here's what they say, Nick. They say, if I can get enough people to do what I really don't like doing, then I don't have to do what I never liked doing in the first place.
Right.
And I think one of the things that really separates this, believe it or not, in our industry, in our business, let's just say North American, is the guys really like it. I mean, when I measure what I could be doing, trapped in a cubicle, right? I mean, can you imagine you trapped in a cubicle?
Right.
You know what I mean? Going through the motions of a 9 to 5, being told when I have to do this and when I have to do that. It's so liberating. Now here's the other.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'd love to
please.
speak to that if you don't mind. Yeah.
Come on, man.
You just fired me up. You know, talking about the management side of it. You know, a lot of managers out there, you're unhappy because you're managing agents that are upset and unhappy because they're not making any money. So it's a completely different situation when you have agents that are making money and people are happy, hitting their goals, and then that makes your job a lot easier. And it goes back to what I was saying before. Why are you in management to begin with that company? Because you couldn't make the income that you needed to as an agent. So again, you may not even be a manager. You may not even qualify to be a manager with our company. You may be able to make the money that you're making right now simply as an agent. And again, that just goes back to our system, because we don't want a bunch of managers. We're not trying to grow that way. That's just not our system. We want to attract with real value, and then whoever you're working with in the way of, you know, if you want to call it your partner or upline or whatever, they're going to provide real value and actually make you better. So instead of a $3,000 a week guy, you're going to be a $5,000 a week guy because he's in your life. And if I don't do that, and if the managers don't do that, of course we're held accountable for that by this man right here. So that's one point there.
You talk about athletics, and you know John Stockton is the NBA leader in assists.
Right.
And so he'll go down in infamy, this little, 5'11", maybe,
right.
6 foot, Caucasian guy, right? Outdoing the great Magic Johnson and the great, point guards that have come before him. One of the things we provide, if we partner together, is the ability to assist you. And what I mean by that, where Stockton would dish the ball, or he would be available there should you need to receive a pass in the moment, dude, we do that. And you know, I think better than anybody in America, when you're in a home, we are there to help assist you in getting that sale. Speak to that, speak to the value that our managers, our leaders, our RVPs add, and just why that is so, let's just say, value adding, if that's a word, to some of the people watching.
Absolutely. What would you say if every time you went into a home, no matter what the situation was, if you were sitting in front of a complex, universal life index policy that you didn't really understand, or a variable universal life policy that you didn't understand, or simply for some reason your personality just wasn't communicating with the client to get them to move forward. And a lot of times you're walking into a home and they're the first time they've ever met you. You've shown them their credentials, and of course we have an outstanding system to build that trust. But sometimes you just need a little help. They need that confirmation that someone else is at this company. Well, you'll have a level of support where you can tap into at any time. For example, you are going to be able to get in touch with some of the best closers in the business. And you're going to be able to call them up, put them on speakerphone, describe the situation that you're in, and they're going to be able to help you close that deal. So imagine having that at your disposal any day of the week, literally 24/7, because accessibility is our #1 goal as a leadership team here. So you're going to bring on a pinch hitter, and he's going to be able to knock it out of the park. And so what am I saying? If you're coming into this business and you're either transitioning or you were somewhere else and you weren't very good, you weren't riding at a high level, we are going to be able to get you riding at a high level immediately, not on your skill set, but on the skill set of your peers that are going to be able to help close the business for you and with you in a home.
I love it. Well, the fact of the matter is, guys, as I've said, opportunity doesn't always knock twice. And if you're watching this and there's something inside you that says, you know what, I know I'm better than the money I'm making. I know I'm better than my 1099 is telling me. And the reality is sometimes it's not your fault. You can be hardworking. You can be integrity driven. But if you're not connected to the right coaching staff, to the right team, don't tell me systems don't matter. Don't tell me coaching doesn't matter. There's somebody that got cut last year from an NBA team, from an NFL team. They made the Pro Bowl last year. They made the All-Star team. Why? Not because they were playing a different sport, but because they were wearing a different jersey and they were playing under a different leadership. And we believe and we're proud of the leadership that NASB provides. And I promise you this, as an owner of this company, if we partner together, we're committed to your results, we're committed to your success, and we're the group you want in the foxhole with you.